Disclaimer. My sister needs my viewers, which basically consist of her and our parents, not even sure about dad, to know that she is so not fitting the mold of this stereotype and she would rather not be put into a box like that by said viewers just based on her sex. Another disclaimer. This is not a stereotype but a statistically evaluated hypothesis with a statistically significant outcome. So feel free not to count yourselves in. Just for most people, undergrad students in Texas, it's like that. Have you seen this one movie in which the two heterosexuals have sex and then he runs off with the next one while the lady is left alone in love and crying, and that's where the movie ended? No, you haven't. And you haven't because the movie industry knows that we, the romantic kitsch film watcher community, do not care for such unromantic and realistic endings in movies. If you have seen such a movie, please comment below, I want to watch it. It happens all the time that people sleep with each other and then go their separate ways, and hopefully for both parties, both of them acquired the sexual pleasure and ego boost they needed from it and left it at that. But it does also happen that one of them will be or fall in love. And sadly, I have to say that in a heterosexual couple, this is usually the woman. This hypothesis was first formulated by Buss in 1994, but he focused on the physical and sexual attraction. Yes, it sounds like a sexist stereotype, but unfortunately and unwillingly, I have to tell you that this actually makes, evolutionary speaking, sense. Women tend to experience a positive affective shift after having sex, while men tend to experience a negative affective shift. This means that women are more likely to fall in love, while men fall out of love, and even find their partners physically and sexually less attractive after first-time sex. Stay with me for a minute here. This is a bit advanced for a non-biologist, but I want to be very exact in what I tell you so you get the whole picture. Let's assume, as evolutionary biology, or actually biology in general assumes, that reproduction is the goal and purpose of life. To reproduce and thus give your genes into the next gene pool of the next generation and so on. In humans, one of the two sexes is forced to invest more into reproduction than the other one. Guess which one? No, go on and guess, I'm waiting. Men are able to reproduce by simply ejaculating. They can do that effectively for a very long span in their lives, every day of the year, several times a day, and also if they already succeeded once, this does not impact their next tries. Women, on the other hand, have to be in a certain age range where it is possible to get pregnant at a very specific time in their cycle once a month, and if they do succeed, then this has been it for the next 9 months for sure. And then you can add a few months of lactation during which the ability to get pregnant again is usually a bit lowered. You understand, as you probably knew long before, that women have to invest a lot more time into reproducing. But it's not just time, mind you, women have to invest more energy. A man, as we said, has to ejaculate once. This is a very inexpensive and energy efficient investment. Like buying a washing machine with a lot of A's on it, and this washing machine is almost for free. Women have a horrible and unbelievably costly energy efficiency. Like, not a single A on the washing machine. Stop it already with the washing machine, we got it. They have already the more costly reproduction units, the eggs, which are huge and need a lot of energy to make, which makes them that much rarer than sperm. Then they have to create and nourish, grow the fetus inside them. They have to share blood and space with it. This is more energy they need in terms of food. Although this thing people keep saying to pregnant women, now you're eating for two, is bullshit. Because have you seen a fetus? I hope not. But they are tiny. And have you seen a baby? They are a little less tiny, but still tiny. And they don't consume as much food as an entire adult person. You just need the right stuff, not double as much. And then you need the money to buy new clothes because your old ones do not fit anymore. And it will take a little time until they do again. Having to share your blood and your belly space, even if expanded, with a fetus makes you also have a few space problems with your other or you have less lung capacity, and you need to visit the toilet a lot more often. But this remark just to make sure that none of you guys are getting pregnant soon. This has nothing to do with the video at the moment. So you got the picture. Women pay a very high price to reproduce, while men could potentially have achieved the previously assumed biological purpose of life in a night they don't even remember. This is also the reason why women need to be very careful in what genetic material they are investing so much into, aka why they are so choosy. If you're going to spend as much time and energy into a kid, you need to make sure that the combination of your genes with the ones of a potential partner is gonna be the best that could ever exist. And this is not even including the years and years of life a parent has to spend to nurse and feed and educate the tiny human into being an autonomous being able to survive without an adult, which is also more likely to be the woman, because obviously it's gonna take time for it to get out, so the man has enough time to just leave, and then there's this baby and someone has to, so the mother usually will take care of it. There are also very many much more biological explanations why she would keep it, but that's a story for another day. So we established how different the sexes are in their investment into the fetus, and I think that it is very easy to understand that any woman needs help with that. Yes, there are a lot of strong and perfect single mothers out there, but let's be real, they need help too. It doesn't have to be the father, but it is the first person that will come to mind, since he should care just as much, in an evolutionary sense a little less, but still more than another random person, about the offspring human to survive. Yeah, but how would you get a male who can actually, evolutionary speaking always, increase his number of kids and thus achieve the purpose of life a lot more often by just leaving the woman and finding another one that is not going to be infertile basically for the next year or so, by emotionally bonding? Yep. That's it. If she can get her Prince Charming to emotionally get attached to her, he is more likely to invest a little more in her in terms of time and energy by, for example, buying food or clothes or caring for the baby so she can get some rest, and especially by contributing to the upbringing and education of the kid, even if just by providing the money to make it possible. Let's be real, money plays a big role nowadays. It doesn't have to be a ton of money, but a consistent income would already help a lot, and this is not always easy when pregnant and then when having a newborn. Okay, but Margarita, almost never am I thinking as far when having sex. I usually just want to have a good time and probably even doing a lot of things not to get pregnant. Well, yes. While that's true, and it is nowadays very easy to effectively contracept, and you can have as much or as little sex as you please without fearing to become a father or mother 9 months later, you must keep in mind that this has not been that way for a very long time, or at least not reliably so. And even if it was, evolution does not take place in the course of a lifetime or two, but rather in thousands and thousands of years. This means that instincts like trying to or not to get attached to the sex partner to ensure the personal advantages are still there. This is why in this study from 2001, the researchers from Texas could support the affective shift hypothesis with their findings from their 2 studies on Texas undergrad students. They found that men are more likely to lose sexual interest after a few months than women are, that men are more likely to report that the first time they had sex with their partners was the best one, and that women are, in contrast to men, more likely to report increased attraction and commitment after the first time. This negative affective shift in men was driven, this is what you say when in the stats there is a subgroup of data points, in this case men, which have something in common but differentiate themselves from another subgroup which is also part of the big sample, also men. So this stat was driven by men who had the biggest number of sex partners overall, which means that they changed partners pretty often, while the other subgroup of men did not, and that the stats saying that men fall out of love are meaning more the ones that tend to change sex partners more often. Last disclaimer, this explanation on how evolutionary biology explains the instinct-driven decisions or feelings is not a good excuse for cheaters. No, if you want to cheat, and by cheating I mean knowing that your partner thinks you are in a monogamous relationship and secretly sneaking off to have sex with other people, then it's entirely on you. If you want to count yourself as part of a better, which it isn't, or more evolved, which it also isn't, species. Do not act as if you are so much more than just a monkey and then use evolutionary biology as your whitewash, because evolution of the Homo sapiens and its culture has made co-parenting obviously very advantageous, so running around and sticking your willy left and right is not the evolved thing to do, okay? Whew! I have no idea on how many toes I might have stepped today, but if I did step on yours, then comment, subscribe, like, dislike, share, and let me make it up to you, okay?